Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to all of you. I am Priyanshi welcoming you all again on behalf of Solar Quarter and First Group to the second day of Thailand Solar Week 2021. I hope you had a great time yesterday and networking with your peers today. Now it's time to start with our second day of conference, but before that, I take the pleasure to thank all our partners for extending their immense support to organize this event. So, starting with our presenting partner SMA Solar, platinum partners Goodwe and Sealet Terre, industry partner Gur Energy. Now, let me quickly take you through today's agenda. We will be having one presentation and one panel discussion, which will be focused on the rooftop solar sector. That is, rooftop solar market outlook and technology trends. After this, we will be having our much awaited awards function. We will be playing our sponsor video of SMA, which is our presenting partner, along with Goodwe and Sealentere, our platinum partners. Requesting my team to start with the video. Thank you, team, for playing the sponsor videos. Let's start with our first presentation by Mr. Anirudh Agarwal from Solar Labs. The screen is all yours, sir.
Hi, Pranshi. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen with you.
Sure.
I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, we can see it, sir.
Sure. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Pranshi. Hope you all are having a good time. A bunch of insightful sessions lined up for today, huh? Myself, Anirudh Agarwal from the Solar Labs, and I'll be taking about 5 minutes to talk about a couple of EPC companies that have been doing some amazing work using the technology to digitally transform their business. Last 24 months have been challenging, not only for us as a community, but also for the solar business. We all have been indulged into seeing increase in the soft cost, doing some site surveys, closing of clients, and just lack of coordination between different departments and trying to find that balance between being efficient and being impactful. Even today, we see there has been incredible increase in some soft cost, leading to a lack of coordination again, and just leading to lack of coordination and being that departments and balancing being between different departments. Also, not only that, there has been multiple working dependencies upon different areas, which eventually leading to impact in the time to install solar. This leading to an integrated digital platform, which is the key to lowering the soft cost and increase profitability. Thus, the installers need some solar digital platform to move further. So this is where the Solar Labs comes as an opportunity to perform that digitally platforms opportunity to everyone over here. So the Solar Labs is is a startup based out of Bangalore, which aimed at providing multiple surveys and at a faster rate. So also an integrated place where you can do the design and engineering, do remote site surveys, provide faster proposals, and leading to a lower contract cycle. So Solar Labs is based upon two use cases. One being the pre-sales, where the salespersons or the design engineers can provide remote site analysis, provide sales quotations, share a 3D web link with the customers, and also do a financial analysis along the same. Along with this, there is a detailed design permits in which they can get the accurate 3D modeling, share system layout planning, do auto shade analysis, energy simulation, and even export CAD experts for permits. Not only this helps you to convert more clients, but also helps you save more time and money, eventually leading to sell bigger systems. Even today, we all have been facing the same thing, like doing them site surveys, coordinating with the clients, and we all face these similar issues. This is where the Solar Labs helps you. So the first stage being the pre-sales, where you can gather the site information, share a preliminary design with the 3D, provide financial analysis, and send sales proposals right away. Even in detailed modeling, you can get the pre-sale precise shading analysis, share a system energy simulations, provide a custom module layout, and do a manual stringing along with it. Also, you can export different PV CAD layouts along the same PV SketchUp, and you can share and insert pricing and proposals to get a detailed financial proposals along with it. Remember, I was talking about a couple of companies that who been digitally transforming their business. The one being Amplus Solar. Earlier, Amplus was dealing with some backlogs of installing and having nearly taking 2 to 3 hours to complete a single project. But with Solar Labs, we helped them to get those designs in less than 20 minutes, leading to saving of more time and resources. The similar being the Greenland Solar. During the Greenland Solar, they were eventually facing to close more clients. But with Solar Labs, we help them get that clarity of how the projects will look like during the years with detailed 3D modeling, the annual consumption, the savings part around the year, and also the financial reports, which have helped them get better clarity to their customers. Not only these, major companies like Tata Power, Thermex Limited, Adani Solar, Unirac, and Sterling and Wilson have already been part of Solar Labs. Over the years, we have totally installed around 30 gigawatt plus installations. We have around 30% increase in lead conversion of our clients. There has been accuracy of 99.99% uptime, and we have around 1,000 plus customers across the globe. Allow me to take you through the demonstration of a software with how a software works. So this is our studio where we design engineering. So for this beginning, we'll start by putting a polygon where we can just outline the source of that area, with which we can also change the height as well. Then there is another part where we can put all the obstructions also using that polygon also. So we can change all those polygons also along with it, and we can change their height and width as along with it. So this is, you can see here like how clearly we can just do, and we can snip it all together at 90 degrees. Now there is also an option of filling the face where the panel will automatically place on the area that we have selected and marked, and we can change their azimuth, their degree, and everything right along. We have the options on the right hand side, as you can see. So you can change along with this. There is an also option of changing the tilt and bezel as the if you are doing on a tin shed, you have the option of doing it on tin shed. You can see right here that we are building a tin shed right now, and we can mark all those skylights also along with it. We can change the degree of the tilt. We can make the azimuths change as well along with this. So all this can be done right away. So you can see right here like how we are trying to get we are building that skyways or the tin shed, and we'll also have multiple tools which help you create this project in a faster and an efficient way. So let's change the tilt over here, and azimuth along with it. So we have that purpose of the tool, which is called the repeat tool, which helps you create the similar objects in a much faster way. So like we have around 8 to 10 similar skylights on the same. So we can just copy paste it, and then we can do a repeat tool. With this, you can place all these places along the tin shed just within a few seconds. The similar is we are trying to show you over here on the website. The second being, there is also a folder of doing a cylindrical shape. If there are some water tanks on the same, you can place a cylindrical object also using that tool of circle along with this. So again, we can use a repeat tool. So further also, we have another option of tool which helps you design the tin shed in a much better way, which is called the mirror tool, in which you can just copy paste the structure and you can just paste it on the same, and you can have it visible on your front of the. So this is how you can just create a tin shed right away. So let's see it in 3D as well. You can all see this in 3D while you are designing it. So this is how the structure and everything will look like in the software. You can check it every time. Whenever you go over a project, you can check it every time when you're designing how it looks like. So the next step being adding the inverter. So we can see it's around 330 kilowatt or something that we have installed. So we can place the inverters also. So let's choose an SMA inverter and choose and place it on the same. So we have placed the inverters as well, and we have completed our project. And the next step would be seeing the energy simulation. Is there any shadows coming along with the same? So we can turn the sun simulation also, and we can check it throughout the year on any part of the day. How is there any shadows coming along, and we can remove such panels by using the heat map as well as the solar access app. That tools are also available. So you can see here, like with the solar access map, we can see which panels have been producing less, and we can optimize them based upon our requirement, like how much we need and how much we need to optimize on the same. So with this, we can delete some panels also, and we can get the product efficiency. So let me just take you through the report that I have already downloaded for you all. So this is the report that we can see. So on the first page, I just have named it Thailand Solar. You can name it as based upon your clients and all, and you can see a snapshot of the same. Also, there's always a 3D link on the bottom where with which you can show it to the client how it will look like in 3D. The next is an introduction about your company. The second being a system matrix where all the annual production performance ratio and specific generations are being given on the same. The second is an estimated savings part where you can show the total savings that they have done, the payback period, internal rate of return, along with all the map and the costing also available on the same. There is also a component list where you can show what components that you have used. You can change it anytime in the software itself. There is also a monthly production page which shows how much the solar has been producing over the months. There is monthly savings page as well, which helps customers to know their savings after going solar. There is a monthly table along with this, the field segments, what kind of portraits and what kind of frame size that you are using. The shadow analysis report for the month of June and December to get a complete analysis of how the shading will look like, the heat and the solar map access as well. The also is the losses page where you can see what kind of losses that you have considered. This is also available. Along with this, the ROI of cost of not going solar, which eventually helps salespeople to close more orders. And the lastly, not the least, but what impact you are doing on the environment, how much carbon offset you have to provide, the amount of forest or acres of forest that you have installed by going solar, and the coal burn avoided. This is also available. And thanks from my side. Any questions upon, we'll be taking up further. Priyanshi, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this exciting presentation and setting up the tone for the conference. And now, without any delay, let's begin with our session on rooftop solar market and technology trends. See, now it's time to begin with the panel discussion. And to discuss this, we have in our panel Ms. Priyambada Pandit from SMA Solar, Mr. Chris Starling from the Lonte Group, Mr. Thompson Kenota from Total Solar Distribution Generation, Mr. Frank Constant from Constant Energy, Mr. Fabian from Liz Energy, Mr. Patrapol from Impact Solar, along with Mr. John Ray from Bevari, Mr. Chayasak from Bessis Commercial Industrial Solution, and Mr. Milan K from Hexagon Peak, who is the session chair of the panel discussion today. Now I welcome all the panelists on the screen and handing it over to Milan sir. Milan sir, please take it ahead. Milan sir, can you hear us?
Milan, we hear you. Yeah.
Just wanted to confirm, am I audible to the other speakers?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay. By the time Milan sir is facing some technical error, Priyamvada ma'am, can you please take it ahead? Start with the discussion if you don't mind.
Sure. I think by the time Milan is able to log in and joining, at least we can start with the introduction part. I think we can start with Mr. Frank. I would just request you to please introduce yourself, explain a bit about your company and your expertise. So then we can start on the discussion.
Thank you. Yes, I'll be brief because we are 8 or 9 on the speaking panel. So I'm the CEO of Constant Energy. I'm based in Bangkok. I've been doing power business in Asia for 25 years and last 10 years in solar. And our company develop, invest, and operates solar plants mainly for Fortune 1000 companies and large local companies in Thailand, Vietnam, and Malaysia.
Thank you so much. I think next we can go to Chris. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
All right. Is Chris there? Can you hear?
Hi, everyone. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Hopefully you can.
Yes.
Some audio
Yes.
issues. I presume we're at the introduction stage. So I'm Chris Starling. I'm a partner based out of the Bangkok office for a company called the Lantau Group. We're essentially an economic and strategy consultancy focusing on the energy sector and sustainability in Asia Pacific. And I mean, in terms of the Thai C&I solar market, we've been particularly active in recent years, advising on two of the largest equity investments in Thai solar rooftop developers. We provide a lot of commercial support, transaction advisory, tariff forecast work, and so forth. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the discussion. I'm trying to sort out the technical glitches on my side, and I'll rejoin very soon. But I hope you caught all of that.
Yes, not a problem. You're in time. I thank you so much, Chris. Next, I think we can go to Mr. Junre Castro from Beva Ari Solar.
Hi guys, good afternoon, and thank you for having me on this call. My name is Chunrei. I'm the director of solar trade in Baiwa RE. In Thailand specifically, we've been there for quite some time. We're active on different spectrum of the solar business, including wind. So in Thailand, we're active as well in the CNI residential solutions, and happy to be part of this call.
Thank you, Junre. Has Milan already joined? Yes, I think so.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Perfect.
you.
I'm sorry, I had a little
Yeah.
late.
So,
Thanks,
I
Priyam,
think
brother.
we just started with the introduction, and we have done introduction for Chris, Junre, and I think we are done with also Frank. So I think you can take it next, and then you can take it forward from there.
Thanks everyone. So I guess Fabian, I would also want to ask everyone to next to introduction, just to share a little bit more of how they see currently the market, and that's going to be a switch to the next question, I guess. But since we have introduced a couple of panelists already, Fabian, please, to you.
Hi, Milan. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me as well. So my name is Fabien Chedefaux. I'm on the solar market based in Bangkok for now 6 to 7 years, and I'm country head for Lis Energy, which is a solar developer. So we develop, finance, and operate solar plant for different kind of customer. And we've been working in Asia for more than 30 years now.
Thanks, Fabian. Chris, I guess you are not a developer. It will be interesting to hear your views as well, but please, a quick introduction.
Sure. I mean, I work for the Lantau Group. I'm based out of Bangkok. We support investors, developers in the broader power space, as well as in the C&I rooftop space, with anything commercial and market focused. So I've been involved in transactions, forecast work, and so forth. Certainly, the Thai C&I rooftop market has been going along very, very well in the last couple of years. We're roughly at about a gigawatt or so of installed capacity. There was some very early policy support, but really a lot of the activity, or all the activity we see now in Thailand, is being led by commercial merit, just purely based on the savings that are available to end users and industrials versus the prevailing grid tariffs. So there's a lot of momentum, a lot of strong local players like Constant Energy, Berkeley Energy, and others. And we're also starting to see some of the larger Thai firms also come into the fold, the Gulfs, the Bigrims, and that sort of caliber of firm. So it's actually becoming very, very competitive, but the underlying economics and growth drivers are very, very strong. And I think, as we'll come on to later in the discussion, there are some quite compelling reasons for that.
Thanks, Chris. We have Kun Chayasak from Total.
Hello, you mean Komsan? Milan? Hello, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my name is Komsan from Total Energies. Well, if somebody recognize Total in the past, you will be like we are the oil and gas company, right? But right now, our ambition is that we want to be the leader in transforming the energies. So we are more focused on the other form of the energies. So just to give you some example, we have the target, to have the 35 gigawatt within the 2025. It means in next 5 years. So right now we have like about 12 to 13 gigawatt in our portfolio right now in the company. So in Thailand, right now we have already have the business here about the private PPA. So we have the totally size about 40 megawatt in Thailand right now, and about 30 megawatt is on the operations. Yeah. So willing to share in more detail. Yeah, later. Thank you.
Thanks, Kun Thompson. And then Kun Chasak from Bekis. I guess that's the new name of Symbior. Please, quick introduction.
So my name is Shasa Isisili, or I'm from BECS, or some of you may know me as a Berkeley Energy commercial and industrial services that we have the called BECS. BECS, we have the operations on the renewable energies all across the world, with solar, with hydro, and with wind across Asia, Southeast Asia, and also in South Africa. But on Thailand, on the Southeast Asia, including China and India, we mainly focus on C&I segment, which is we not provide on only solar, but we contribute the energy solution, which is the bioenergy, solar, and energy management to our client in the industrial sector as well. So far we have the operations over 200 megawatt across the global. That is a short introduction from BECS.
Thank you. Now, Chris, starting with you, very generic question. You mentioned we have a lot of players in the market. You mentioned it's been quite a steady growing market, but essentially, in terms of overall volume, to me, it looks like it's a very, very competitive market with a lot of players involved, and the opportunities are just so many. In terms of regulations, we know there is a few schemes available, but can you just give us an overview of how the market looks like for developers, and whether or not this is sufficient, or it could potentially be a little bit bigger if we had some more support from the government. Essentially, Thailand has become one of the very few self-sufficient solar markets in Southeast Asia. Vietnam has been driven by policies, Malaysia as well, but Thailand has become a steady, stable market driven by self-consumption projects, private PPAs. What is missing?
What is missing? Well, I mean, just to take a slight step back, you don't have any of the open access in Thailand, and that's probably 2-3 years away. And so really, end users have been left with very few choices in terms of procuring lower cost or green electricity in the Thai market. And that growth really kicked off in Thailand back in 2017, 2018. As I mentioned in my introduction, the fundamentals in the market, when we look at private PPAs, we look at the backdrop of retail tariffs, the fundamental drivers and economics of C&I solar are very, very strong. The discounts that can be offered and so forth. And that is really what is driving adoption, pure economics, and alongside that, the shift in the more maturing environment around sustainability at the corporate level that is sort of slowly filtering into Southeast Asia. In terms of what is missing that would support the C&I rooftop solar market, I mean, net metering does jump out as the obvious one that is not on the cards. It took the Thai government quite a while getting around to putting net metering in place for the residential rooftop market. And frankly, it didn't move the needle at all in terms of adoption. I don't personally think net metering for C&I customers will make a huge difference. It will probably drive a little bit more of the buy the system model adoption. But the economics are so compelling with being able to avail of sort of 35, 40, 45% discounts against the prevailing tariffs that actually net metering is a nice to have. It does allow for a little bit of system size optimization and so forth, but it's not really, I think, going to propel more upward momentum. I think that's much more likely to come when the tariffs get looked at a bit more closely. And when I say tariffs, I mean the end user tariffs that the government charges through its distribution utilities, because as I said earlier, Thailand, you do have quite high cost reflective tariff levels at the regional level. But what we've seen over the last year with the increase in fuel prices globally and other drivers is actually the tariffs, not the end user tariffs, not quite keep up with where they should be. And I think eventually when those tariffs do normalize towards higher levels at the grid level, that will actually drive further adoption. So we're in this little bit of a distorted environment at the moment where retail tariffs are lower than they should be because of regulatory and policy intervention. And I think that the Thai government is trying to sort of drip feed that into the market because it's obviously very wary about the recovery from COVID and helping businesses, helping end users navigate the economic disruption in the market. But there's no sort of one big policy measure that I think will, see the Thai C&I market grow, exponentially further. It's on a pretty solid foundation as it is.
Thanks, Chris. I guess the key statement here is that the energy tariffs the energy prices are basically driving the growth, which is perfect, makes perfect sense, and it's the most sustainable solution for growing the industry. I'm currently in Europe and I see what's happening here. It's really crazy. Businesses are paying double their electricity cost overnight. From 1 month to another, the bills are doubling. It's a huge problem. And I think it's inevitable that sooner or later it will reach the entire world, especially also including Thailand as well. So energy bills are growing. And the discounts to the energy tariffs are growing as well. What we have seen in Thailand over the past years, I have seen discounts offered by developers of more than 50%, which is nowhere else, particularly in Asia. So a question to the developers now: is it the key argument or the key bargaining power for developers to win a project? Is it the discount of tariff, or do you guys see that customers are looking for something else as well? Maybe starting with Frank.
I think Frank's just dropped a message that there's a fire alarm in his building, so you might need to jump to someone else.
Yep. Kun Thompson.
Hi, Milan. Yep. Well, frankly speaking, the key driver will be the discount. Yeah, that is the real world. So it is the corporate market, right? So the customer, they first of all, want to see how much they can save. And by the way, in some of the clients, they also want to have like the clean certificate, or the clean initiative in their organizations. And by the way, in the near future, I see more factor that will make the customer to decide to go with solar rooftop is because of in the near future, for example, in European countries, okay, if we want to export the product there, then we need to have like the carbon tax. So that is something I believe that in Thai industrial associations we have already aware on that one. So a lot of factories, they now not just only looking for the cost, but they will also looking on that clean certificate that will allow them to have more better in terms of the export product into the developed countries. Other than that, in some of the multinational or in the the critical factories, they will also looking for something like the safety standard because of rooftop will give them make some discount, but okay, if there is some accident or some of the safety issue, it will make more loss into the factories. That is in my point of view. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Kun Thompson. Fabian, your guys also very active in the CNI space. How do you win customers?
I cannot deny that it's mostly based on economics. This is the main key factor that the client will look for. But the second factor that they will look for is definitely to build trust with the developer, a developer that can assure them a high quality standard. Thailand market is improving fast on the quality of construction. Also, being able to really explain. We are entering most of the time very long duration contracts. So really explaining and make them understand exactly what are the meaning of a PPA is one of the most important points to reach an agreement. That and of course the goal is always to create really a tailor-made solution for the clients. Really to understand what are their needs, and if their, for example, production has to stop during COVID time, to have enough flexibility in the contract to let them not have to pay a penalty or to reduce the discounts. So really having a tailor-made solution, build trust, and of course, as the first point, good economics with a good discount.
Thank you. Kun Chasak, Thailand has become a mature market. Customers are usually aware of what they sign up for. And they're getting more and more informed about what a solar system is and what a PPA is. Do you see this as a and the competition as well is educating customers? Do you see this as a benefit to the entire industry? It's becoming a really a mature market where other places can learn from it. Self-driven market without subsidies by the government, very, very self-sustainable. How is your company competing in this scheme with all the players on the market, and how do you win your customers?
Okay, so I have this story that I always tell my team back to 5 years ago when 5 to 6 years ago when we first entry to the CNI market. We have to explain on the customer on even how solar could create the saving, what is the benefit of solar, and what is a PPA, because at that time the market is pretty new and the customer have some curiosity that how there is the company invest them for free and stay for the long-term partnership like 15, 20 years or even 25 years. So at that time, I think we spent a lot of time to educate the people, educate the customer that could, the market size is quite small and we have to work very hard, the good effort to close one customer. The lead time to develop the one project is like 2 years, for example. But I think nowadays the market has been mature, the customer or the industry has been educated by players in the market, including the government. So the people have no questions on how solar benefits them, and make sure that PPA is have mutual benefit to both client and developers. So it's win-win situation. So one take advantage for the long terms, and that could be the factors could expand the market significantly. So I think compared to 5 years ago and nowadays, we enter to the clients, the lead time to develop the prospect is shorter and shorter. Sometimes it's only 4 months, 6 months, or even a year compared to 2-3 years in the past. So I think with this kind of educations, the customer well aware of the solar PPA, and Of course, there would be more competition in the market. But anyways, I think even we use the same equipment with other developers, it doesn't mean that we have the same result. So with BCS, of course, like Kun Komsan or Fabian say, the price need to be competitive. But private PPA, also PPA is like the long-term managed, 15 years, 20 years. So it's not only the price, but the chemistry, the relation between client and developer need to speak in the same language, in the same directions as a strategic partners. Safety is one thing, and the ability to perform our asset, our performance has to prove to the customer that we are good in the game, not just only on the discount or the price. And that's how we win the project, pretty much a long time success and become as of today.
Thank you, Kunchasak. Junhei, to you, I see that Thailand, as other markets, has started first with the early adopters, which are usually the multinationals. And Bayway is very active with big corporations trying to solve their carbon footprint, carbon offset, net zero targets. It looks to me, though, that those customers in Thailand are very limited. Thailand is not one of the manufacturing hubs in the world. It has its manufacturing industry, but a lot of local players are involved. And my question is whether you, as international developers, are looking into those that are probably not among the biggest companies in the world, are probably a little bit more local and have steady business outlook, but they are not financially as credible as all the big guys. Do they get the same benefits and readiness for developers and investors to commit to a 20 years contract with those? Or is this still a market segment which has not been tapped on?
Yeah, so there's ongoing development on that side. Our key engagements at the moment are in the multinationals, as you mentioned. However, there's also growing after the COP26 been a lot of awareness in the market, and it's not just the multinationals, the international players, but the local players as well. One key challenge, of course, financing. These are PPAs or long-term contracts, and that's something that we are also considering. There are different solutions that we could work on that. Also, I think at the moment the business models for rooftop solar is changing quite significantly as well. But as you mentioned, the corporate PPAs is still key. Private PPAs are still key for the market. So finance is one key challenge sometimes on the new customers.
Yeah, I would imagine so as well. Okay, basically there are challenges, financial, and I want to switch to Priyamvada now and ask whether there are also technical challenges on the market. Is there any construction safety standards already accepted by the market players? And what do you see as key challenges from a technical standpoint?
From technical standpoint, Thailand has been there in the solar market for quite long. If you see in Southeast Asia, is one of the longest player. So the standards which are there for rooftop are comparatively different, and in the industrial zone also what you have to follow are different than what you follow in the ground mounted system or the utility scale system. Thailand market developed typically it started similar to India or some of the other markets. It started from the utility and then it went to commercial and rooftop and everything. So if you are trying to just follow the same installation practices or safety practices on the rooftop, it or even in the industrial zone, it may not be enough. there are different points in this. First of all, when we are talking about installation, it is definitely the safety of the manpower who is working. That is one part, that's during the installation, whether they are following all the safety standards. Designing of the plant and how the installation of the entire plant is done, because we are designing this plant to last for 20-25 years. So including the mechanical safety part of it, also the electrical safety part of it, that you have to understand. Typically in the industrial zone, also when we are talking about the monitoring parts, monitoring the entire plant, you have a lot of other EMI EMC issues. You have to make sure from that safety point of view, also the clearances and everything, that you have to take into account. uh, it is improving, but still in some of the cases, we have seen that even in Thailand, that installations are not completely up to the mark. Uh, there we need to have a standard. I mean, most of them, when comes to inverter part, it you can take it from the inverter manufacturer, you can get their consent, but there are some things which are defined at the plant level. The Many of the times, it is when it is FIT based or something like that, when the utility is responsible, that inspection happens properly. But when it is the private PPA, it depends upon the installer and developer, and definitely that's where we understand who are the good players in the market, who are doing following all those safety norms and giving the good solutions. This is one of the key differentiator between different players that are there in the market, that set one player from the other, because that definitely reduces your a lot of O&M costs. It is not just about, when we talk about complete solar plant, it's not just about the capex that you are putting in, also the opex. And if the installation itself then is very good, you are definitely following all, you will have much lower operation and maintenance cost. So that I think it is definitely improving. It is, I would say, better than many other markets in the or countries in the world, but still there is some scope of to improve. That's what we feel.
Thanks, Priyamvada. I see Frank is back. Frank, same question to you as to the other developers. How do you guys compete on this very saturated market? Is it only the discount of tariffs, or there are other magics involved in winning new customers in Thailand?
Yeah, 2 points. So, and I want to touch on regulation. So, and safety. So, as a transition, it's important to mention that the Engineering Institute of Thailand just published new regulation earlier this month, which will apply very soon in the next few weeks to all new projects, rooftop. So those regulations will essentially increase the cost of installation, such as rapid shutdown will be mandatory on rooftop installation going forward. So some of it, a number of things that will, I think, generally improve the safety. I think, and the health and safety for the installation, and they will essentially start to apply from 2022. So that's the first point. To come to your question, Milan, I think it's becoming a competitive market. You know, there's some we start to see some player leaving the market because they cannot compete anymore. Or they're not competitive enough from abroad. The price is, of course, very important. We try to focus on clients that are not only interested in price. Our clients, typically, we focus on 1,400 companies, or very large local companies. And those companies, they want to make sure that they don't have headache of maintenance 3-4 years down the road. So they want the EPC to be high quality. They want to make sure there is whoever install the solar plant on their roof has skin in the game in the long term with them. and don't abandon them after the plant start operation or 1 year later. So we are long-term investor in this sector. We've been investing in solar plant in Thailand for 10 years, and we manage all our plants. So that's kind of our positioning. We pay maybe a little bit more for the plant construction and for the equipment, but we take high quality equipment. And I think we focus on that part of the market, which is high health and safety, strong installation, not focusing only on price, and long-term management and skin in the game by the power plant developer.
Thank you. You touched base on safety, and Thailand is a Southeast Asian country where in other places, particularly in Vietnam, we have seen a lot of rooftops not qualifying for solar panels, even though they have installations, but the roofs are leaking and so on and so forth. Do you see any technical issues in that perspective? Are the rooftops in Thailand actually strong enough, or do you sometimes have to reinforce whatsoever to make it happen?
Yeah, look, we as a rule, we always get, and before anybody in our company goes into the roof, we have the roof and building structure assessment done by third-party expert engineers. It costs money, it's not cheap, but it's necessary for us. We don't take any risk on this. Sometimes, the good thing with the Thai market, it hasn't gone too quickly. There's not been like a fever to build rooftop like we have seen in Vietnam. When you have this kind of fever in certain markets, speed and going too quick before you know how to walk can result in surprises. And for ground mount, I think it can be okay. It can result in just curtailment. But for rooftop, people can actually die of it. If rooftop is not properly secured, if the studies on the roof and the building structure have not been properly done up front, people can die, fall from the roof, fall through the roof, and this is not the kind of risk that any serious corporates want to be exposed to. I've not seen more issue on rooftop on buildings in Thailand. We do roof reinforcement. We're just doing a project with a major US bubble drink in Thailand at the moment, and we're doing some roof reinforcement to ensure the longevity of the solar project on the roof and the full safety. I would say maybe 10-20%, not different from what we've seen in France. We've done rooftop in France 10 years ago. We got the same amount of rooftops that needed reinforcement. What is key is you need to identify this reinforcement before you do the job, not after. After it's too late or it's too risky. The other thing is, it's not because the building is new that it will not require reinforcement. Often, the old building need less reinforcement than the new building, because the old building were designed by engineers. We did not have AutoCAD and did not have computers, just based on calculators. And so those buildings, the engineer at the time, because their tools were not as strong, took more margin and more contingency. So often, old buildings is generally require less, as a rule, require less reinforcement than new buildings, where the buffer is smaller, especially in supermarkets. Like temporary or short-term building like supermarkets. This is the kind of building we need to be careful.
Thanks, Frank. Kun Patrapol, how do you guys, same question. What is the key for making customers in Thailand?
Hi, everyone. I think the key factor would be quite the same with everyone. But I think from my point of view, I would add another aspect on the experience that what we do in the past. For example, the experience, especially how to complete the project and deliver the project to COD on time, which is directly related to the regulation process. I think that one would be another key point of the customer consideration of how to select the developer who doing the project at their facility. Because like the regulation here is quite like old and not developed by the market. And currently we are facing difficulties on how to achieve the project COD, especially during the COVID period. Yes. So I think the experience on the regulatory would be one of the key consideration of the customer selection of the developers.
Thank you. Chris, back to you. I guess we have, very self-sustainable, mature market with all the financing options available. We can, in Thailand, we can finance even small projects with the bank financing. That enables a huge amount of potential for developers. But essentially, the PPA is the most important document in this business. What do you see as a trend in Thailand for the PPAs? Do we see those PPAs becoming a mainstream, more or less similar to each other, or do you still see a lot of challenging PPAs with key issues where bankability becomes a challenge? And how are you guys involved in helping customers on this?
Sure. So thanks, Milan, for the question. In our experience with dealing with PPAs in the CNI market in Thailand, and indeed the SPP market as well, where you can't sell to producers, usually pops up when we do transaction advisory work, due diligence, to sort of understand the general framework and risks implicit within the PPAs. I mean, generally speaking, what we've seen is certainly, a lot more standardization and harmonization across the engagements we've been working in terms of clauses around force majeure, minimum offtake requirements, and so forth. So I don't think I'd go as far as to say there's a template PPA structure out there in the market, but certainly, there's a general risk that inside of the fence sits on and so forth. So certainly, a couple more standardized against that. So we've had the tenor and term of PPAs has shortened more. I think we see more 15-year PPAs becoming a lot more common, whereas previously it was more anchored around the 20-year mark. But that's generally how we see it. As I said, there's not a standardized PPA template, but it's certainly a mature enough market such that you don't see huge disparities between what one developer is offering and another. I'm not sure if the panel have similar views on that or not, but that's from our experience at least.
Thanks, Chris. Fabian, what is the shortest PPA you have signed?
Well, we can sign very short PPA lately. We can even go down to something like 10 years. We used to even do PPA that are shorter than this when we propose co-investment. So the duration is really not an issue. The lower the EPC cost is, of course, the shorter we can do contracts. So it's really dependent on the clients. Some clients want to max saving from the very first year. Some clients have way more vision for the long term. And so they prefer to gain the solar plant as soon as possible to reduce their operating cost. From a certain perspective, yes, it would be interesting. It is interesting for a developer to have a long-term solar plants, to have the maintenance and the operation for long term. But of course, it's mostly driven by the customer needs. So far, I would say that the customer is mostly requiring something like between 10 and 15 years. 15 years being the standard.
Thank you. Junhei, Fabian mentioned EPC cost and duration of the PPA, which is highly connected. But how do you see? And I think Bayway is one of the companies that does not really make any much compromises on the quality level. I guess you have your own distribution arm and dealing with premium brands. How does pricing of components affect EPC costs since before COVID and now?
So as everybody know, there has been quite a challenge in terms of supply chain as a result of COVID. But in Thailand, generally, if you look at the growth from 2019, 2020, it hasn't been hindered so much. There has been a few projects which we've seen that has been pushed out, but not canceled. The cost of equipment has been quite a challenge this year, but this is also a test of how mature the market is in Thailand. Um, there's a lot of local distributors. Baiwa is one of them who's able to help customers in terms of bridging the challenges in cost for equipments. And if you look at challenges on supply chain, on the modules, on inverters, this has been still ongoing. Also, the logistics cost has been a big challenge for the market this year. But if you compare the challenge against the growth of the market in Thailand, we're estimating Thailand in 2021 is maybe a gigawatt of projects, and that's mostly rooftop. So that hasn't really stopped the market to grow. It's a normal trend that we see in any industry. Supply chain will become a challenge, but at the same time, there's also advancement on the technology side, which in some cases kind of overshadows the cost increase. The technology has advanced as well so much that LCOE has been a key factor as well, not just looking at the price per equipment, but a lot of advancement as well in terms of installation, BOS, which helps reduce the cost further.
Milan sir has lost his connection. Frank sir, can you take it up?
Priyanshi, we can actually hear Milan quite clear.
Am I audible?
Yeah, I'm hear you. You done?
Yes, Priyanshi, we can hear you. Not sure about Milan, sir. Yeah,
Maybe
I
the
think he's
problem
back.
is we can hear Kiran Milan very well.
Okay.
Okay, great. Can anyone hear Milan sir? Because I'm not able to hear him.
Even I'm not able to hear him.
Frank sir, you can take the discussion ahead because I believe Milan sir has some technical error.
Yeah. Okay. So Milan, you can ask a question. I'll take it over.
Thank you so much, sir.
I think the market is becoming fairly standardized on the key terms. That's good. So the customer are getting more sophisticated, which is good. I think it's healthier for everybody. The And I think that's also driven by the banks, right? Because people could negotiate PPAs that were a bit exotic and not so attractive, with a lot of holes. It works as long as you don't look for a real project finance to come in and to finance you. So at some point, if you want to really develop a business that is stable and that is sizable, you need the banks. You cannot just do it on equity. So the banks requirement for good contracts has rationalized the market here. You've seen the banks coming more into the market. I think we've heard in the last year, 12, 18 months, a number of financial close from multiple players. Our friends from Impact, ourselves have closed non-recourse project finance, sometimes working with the same banks. Simbayer also, BCIS, and all the most of the players of significant size have closed non-recourse project finance in Thailand. And that has put, I think, a level of quality in the document that needs to come up. And I think that's also going to make a difference between the players that remain and that continue to grow and the players that kind of die or exit the market. So I would say, however, but I still see some RFP with I would say one client out of 10 coming out with some reluctance on allowing assignment of the PPA to the lenders of the project finance or these sort of things. And because they were able to get it 2 years ago, they think they can still get it. And also they think they have a very big name, so they think everybody is going to, they're going to find someone to actually take the risk. But I would say 80% of the contracts are fairly good, starting to be of a standard that is the required standard for project finance.
Till the time, I guess, if Milan sir has not joined yet, I can just throw in a question. I mean, I would like to understand from all the panelists. We were talking about some of the safety regulations earlier, and there is a new regulation that has been released recently, which will talk about AFCI and rapid shutdown and everything. So I wanted to a little bit understand a view from all of you regarding this. So typically, where this AFCI and rapid shutdown requirement came from, it came from the US market, where micro inverters and optimizers were used predominantly in the rooftop segment, and where you have multiple connections. So the problem of it is from the basically safety hazard point of view. So AFCI, we can understand it is important. It will give you additional safety typically on the rooftop. But if you are talking about say rapid shutdown, in rapid shutdown, whether you want to have voltage limited to panel level, you want certain limitation on the panel level, or the voltage on the string level, you want to maintain certain voltage. So there are different options in the rapid shutdown. Now if we have to do it on say panel level, you need to have power electronics on each and every panel. You need to have IGBTs, you need to have some kind of electronics which will control the voltage in case of rapid shutdown. So your number of connections are going to increase. So you need to have, I mean, the number of connections will define the possible fault points, right? Number of connection increases, there are more possibility of some kind of failure or fire or something like that. So
Absolutely.
what is your view, where, because if we are promoting one thing, so instead of actually trying to take care of the root cause, whether we are trying to just bypass and the root cause remains the same, whether this is becoming the situation, and the rapid shutdown should be on the string level, or it should be on the panel level. Because for rooftop, if something happens with the power electronics which is integrated into the panel, it's very difficult even to operate and maintenance if something fails or something. So even from O&M point of view. So I would like to understand your point of views from the panelists. What do you think about this?
Yeah, just quickly, if I may,
Yeah.
I would say you summarized it very well, Priyambada, very well. Interestingly, I think all this change, I think, probably makes sense, except the rapid shutdown at panel level, which, in my view, is not a way to make things safer. Certainly, a way to make things much more expensive, and because as you point out, any additional new electronics is a potential item of failure in an installation, and we don't really need that for residential. It may make sense, but not for industrial scale, for CNI, because on CNI,
Right.
the owner or the operator will be able, maintains it much more than the residential handles. So you would avoid a lot of through preventive maintenance, a lot of this issue that the rapid shutdown is supposed to fix or to prevent. So, we are not big fan of rapid shutdown. In fact, Australia, which has a much more experience in rooftops than Thailand, for the last 10 years, they've done a huge development CNI and residential. in Australia since 2012. Australia, in their latest recommendation from the Engineering Institute, is recommending to remove rapid shutdown and not to add rapid shutdown for rooftop installation. So it's interesting to see that the current going not the totally different direction from between Australia and Thailand on that particular issue. I suppose maybe the lobbying by inverter manufacturer from USA is maybe not foreign to the fact that they somehow were able to convince the market that rapid shutdown is needed in Thailand, but we don't think so. We don't think so. Maybe for residential, but not for CNI. That's what we have to say about that.
Yeah, Piramadad. Yeah, I want to just add something on this point because
Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
thanks. I agree with Frank that that is the factor that we need to consider. For example, if we add the rapid shutdown at the module level, yeah, we have a electronic there, so the system liability is not there because of that is the electronic. Then it fails many times. And by the way, regarding the safety, well, even you put that rapid shutdown there, but if you don't maintenance it or monitor it as the good practice, then the safety also not there. By the way, even in the string level or without the rapid shutdown, like what Frank said in Australia, if you have the good the O&M practice and you have the good alarm, the monitoring system good, then actually we can manage the very low risk on that system also. Yeah.
I just also wanted to add, Prima Yada, because if you
Yeah.
look at I think it's also important to look at the market as it is. The Thailand market is a CNI market.
Right.
Comparing to US, whose majority a residential market.
Exactly. Yes.
Even if you look at Europe as well, who is also residential active, it doesn't have that requirement. So it's really a mix. I think it makes sense for a certain segment in terms of safety,
Yeah.
but for TNI, it's an additional component that could add complexity and cost as well. However, there are also certain technology who is able to integrate it at a much good prices. Also, the integration is much better. It adds value, but to put it as a requirement could probably add complexity on the market, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Anyone wants to add to this? If not, I think we can hand it over to Milan sir. Already, he's I think here.
Yes, thanks, Priyanvada. I think I wanted to check with Priyanshi whether we have any questions. We're nearing towards the end of this panel.
Yes, sir. We are having a few questions. We can take it at the end of the session.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. I guess then I'm going to wrap up with one question for everyone.
Yeah,
How do
Mr.
you see
Milan. Yeah, you can continue.
how do you see the future of the industry, and how you see your company in 10 years from now? I guess let's start with Journey.
Sure. Yeah. So in Thailand specifically, I think the growth, it started in a rooftop as a utility, as some of you has mentioned earlier, but it has now grown to one of the most mature rooftop market in Southeast Asia. I think the good thing about Vietnam is it's growing constantly at the right pace. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. The maturity of market is in a good foundation. I think that will continue, and we believe that really rooftop is one of the more sustainable segment of solar in the long run. And I think Thailand is one of a key example for that. We will continue to invest in Vietnam. I think there's a lot of potential in Vietnam. Technology access to installers and EPCs is important. Also, looking at new business models could be something that we have to consider as well in Vietnam. So, I think we've been in Thailand for quite some time now, for a few years, and we will continue on that path. I think relationship and having to provide stable financial capability when we're talking about PPA is very important, and that's something that BayWa is able to deliver. We also see a lot of activities in terms of new application, in terms of floating solar. For example, we recently completed a project in Thailand for a floating solar, and that's also something that we want to continue to expand on and focus on moving forward.
Thanks, Junrei. Kun Thompson?
Yes, thanks, Milan. Well, I think for sure, this is the new technologies, and this is the new form of the energies. Even Total, we are the big giant of the oil and gas, but yeah, we still want to transform to be the more broader energies form. So electricity is one thing that okay, we consider that that will be the key point, including the the renewable energies and also the storage systems. Well, in Thailand for sure, right now the regulators ERC they try to change the regulations by right now you may heard that okay there are the sandbox program which is approved by the ERC, which is okay if they got the information from or the result from that sandbox project, then the peer-to-peer or the another business model will be here in Thailand for sure. So the market will be growth here, and right now for sure we don't have a lot of the utility size project available for Thailand, but for the private PPA or CNI, I think it will be like the big growth in the long run. As you can see that a lot of the developer come to Thailand. Yeah, the new developer you will see in every year. So, well, for Total Energies, well, as I said, we are going to transform the company, and let's say in the next 10 years, we would like to have 100 gigawatt portfolio of renewable energies. And okay, in just the next 4 years, I present before, yeah, we are going to have like 35 gigawatt. So for sure, in Thailand, we would like to have as much as possible. Yeah. Thank you, Milan. Yeah.
Thanks, Kun Thompson. Fabian, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Milan. I can only reach basically the same conclusion as John and Kamson. Like, we need to develop solars. There is still a big untapped market here in Thailand. As we said, like we were focusing mostly on a big corporation, big customer to start for solar, but there is still a big quantity of company that want to implement solar. We are pretty sure in the future there will be other technology that will be economically viable. So far, we are talking about a strong rooftop market, but yes, of course, the floating solar is getting bigger and bigger every year here in Thailand. We can see that we have many projects, very huge project built right now. We are talking about battery, which might not come right now, but will come at some point. So for sure, like we have high expectation here in Thailand, like in Asia, and this country is basically made for solar. The highest moment they consume is basically during the day with all the aircon, all the process. So it only makes sense to develop more and more solar here.
Perfect. This country is made for solar. I love this. Chris, what is your view?
I missed the question, Milan, just as I had to log back in. So if you could restate that.
How do you see the industry in 10 years and your company participating in it?
For rooftop or Thailand?
Thailand rooftop, yes.
Sure. I mean, I think, as I mentioned a couple of times now, the market's on a very strong footing in terms of the core fundamentals and growth in the C&I space. I think, as I think some of the other panelists alluded to, you are going to see people look at what is the next way of augmenting that client relationship. In many ways, solar rooftop is about getting that relationship started, and various types of distributed energy solutions, whether it's EVs, whether it's sort of cooling, HVAC, battery storage, is going to kind of be the next area where probably the margins will be better, and where that sort of revenue growth can evolve from. So, I mean, we as a company, will I'm sure continue to remain heavily engaged in the Thai CNI space, advising on transactions, debt financing, market sizing. Tariff forecasting is becoming increasingly important given the sort of policy interventions that we're seeing, and also the fact that developers really need to have a decent view as to what forward direction tariffs are going to take, so that they can sort of structure their PPAs and discounts and so forth accordingly. But I think certainly the market will broaden. There'll be a more diverse set of distributed energy solutions that players will look at. And I think also the interplay with open access will become very interesting. We've started to see open access and third-party access take shape on the gas and LNG front in Thailand. And realistically, we're probably 2 or 3 years away from open access taking shape in Thailand on the power side. And I think that interplay between rooftop solar and power that's wheeled from ground mount projects, when that open access does start up, will be very interesting. So there's plenty of areas where we hope to continue to support clients and stakeholders in the market.
Thanks, Chris. Kun Chiasak, over to you.
Hi, thanks. So on the trend of the business in 10 years, I think nowadays people start talking a lot more and more on the net zeros, or even 50% cut on the CO2 emissions, or even 100% cut in next 10 or 20 years. I think that is a trend of the global scale. But speaking on the Thai market, I think we cannot achieve that if we just focus on the on-site generations, where limited on the roof space or the space to install the solar as the on-site generations. So, but fortunately, that the government start looking for third-party assessment, willing charge to expand gradually toward to off-site generation. It would take time. It's not going to be immediately, but that is the trend that we moving to, from on-site to off-site generations. It will take a while for sure, but that would be increase a lot in terms of the market size. And to achieve the net zeros or even 50% decarbonizations, I think solar by itself, rooftop by itself is not enough. So we right now at BCS we try to utilize in any single space like carport or solar ground mount or even the solar floatings combined with the solar rooftop to utilize every square meters of the factories in order to generate the clean electricity as much as we can. And also we integrate with all the other systems as well, like the energy solution, energy management, like chiller, cold storage, and we expand ourselves to the bioenergy business, where we provide the steam from the biomass feedstock and the gas feedstock to ensure that our client as an industrial sectors can maximize the CO2 emission with us as one energy as a service provider. That is direction of the big pictures, and that is direction of BECS in the near term.
Thank you, Kun Chiasak. Patrapol? Kun Patrapol? Same question.
Yes. So for the next 10 years, actually just remind what happened in the past 10 years. So like in Thailand, that where we start the corporate PPA 6 years ago, that the timing that solar rooftop just reduced and getting down to the grid parity for the cost, and at that point that we could offer the corporate PPA to the customer, the very first one. And yeah, I heard Chris say everything. I totally agree with Chris that I think the next phase would be the new technology that would involve in the market. For example, like the battery EV charging and other related technology that would come in. And once the price getting down and it meet what we could offer and build the business model, it would be the new, how to say, like new scale for the market. And after that, it would be related to the policy that would come in for the Thai market, for example, like open access and net metering and maybe another thing else that would allow us to expand the the business model and maybe kind of the new design of the solar project. For example, we could build solar farm for the open access and paying wheeling charge and supply to another plant far away. So I think in next 10 years, uh, Impact Solar, I believe that we could be the first mover that could think about the new business model with the right timing for that technology and would be the first one who can offer the customer with the new technology.
Thanks, Kun Patrapo. Now, Priyamvada, madam, to you to make the final statement here.
Sure. Thank you, Milan. Uh, for next 10 years, I think it will not be only one business model, as everyone is saying correctly. I agree with everyone, because if we have to achieve the goal that Thailand had set, say 17 gigawatt by 2025, or even after that, it cannot be just one business model that will help. I mean, along with mostly the CNI segment would be the front runner, but at the same time, everyone else has to contribute. There will be definitely floating solar projects, but mostly those are owned by state utilities and everything. Probably those are not the private PPAs. You need to have open access, and all these different business models require different type of uh, solutions, I would say. Along with that, at the same time, open access and all these require your transmission lines to be very strong and capable, because you're using that capacity when you're putting so much renewable onto it. So till that time happens, you also need to empower your market by increasing the capacity of self consumption, and that would be possible by storage segment. So at the same time, that's why storage is going to play an important role till we have your our transmission systems which can handle this much of open access and peer to peer or private PPAs. So altogether, for that, as an SMA company, we are in the every market segment that we are talking about, in the storage, in the on grid. It is there in the off grid segment. Uh, Also, when we are talking about all this adding renewable into the system, we need to also understand that we need to have complete portfolio management. We need to have, when we have different sources we are combining together, say we have one industrial, or we have one commercial mall where you have solar, you have gas, you have a diesel generator, you have different energy sources. Then you require the energy management for those solutions. So that is also an important part when we are talking about the energy sector, the renewable energy sector. And SMA as a company, we have solutions for all these as a global players. They have been implemented all around the world, and the same SMA can offer in Thailand. So the technology is already there. According to how the market grows, what are the business model, what are the policies, that will define in which direction it goes. But definitely it will not be just one business model that can achieve this. So it is going to be bouquet of everything, not just one. I think that's what I have
Thanks,
to say.
Priyamvada, and thanks so much. Over to Priyanshi for questions from the audience, if any.
Yeah, sure.
So I think we answered this, but if anyone wants to touch base again, please do so. Are any exact safety standards for solar rooftop installations in Thailand? I guess Kun Thompson replied this very, very well that there is absolutely no regulation right now, but there are recommendations. So if anyone wants to add to this, Kun Thompson, please feel free to.
Should I proceed with the next question?
Please.
Yeah.
Will the price of solar panel continue to rise? How about price trend in 1, 3, and 5 years? I don't think anyone here has a crystal ball because the prices of solar panels right now really require a crystal ball. But I think Junhei is the closest to answer this because of Baywa's distribution arm and probably the insights that he gets there.
Yeah. Well, you're exactly right, Milan. I think very difficult to predict. I think it's a lot of combination of factors to really say whether it will continue, and if we could predict that, then we would be in a really good position, right? It's uncertain. However, one thing is clear. There is disruption as a result of the pandemic. We don't think that it will stay that long. Our forecast is that prices will go back to more stable condition. When is a question, but it will probably not go to the same level as we used to see before. There will be a lot of factors to consider for us to say what the price is in the next few years.
Priyanshi, do we have another question?
Yes, yes. This is the last one.
Okay, so I guess that's the same as the previous safety requirements. So that we covered already. If no other questions, then I would like to thank everyone on the panel.
Thank you so much, everyone, and a special thanks to you, Milan sir, and also thanking to Priyambada ma'am to stepping in between and taking it over. So thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll be back with more exciting conferences. But the show is not over yet. We are having the most awaited part of the day, which is the Gala Awards of Thailand Solar Week. So with this, I'm handing it over to Geeta. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the award celebration of Thailand Solar Week Leadership Awards 2021. I am Geeta from Solar Quarter, your host for the evening. We all know that Thailand has a great solar potential and it has more solar power capacity than all the rest of the South Asia combined. Over the years, we have seen a tremendous growth in the sector in the country, and we are sure that the set target to reach 6,000 megawatt by 2036 is not far from turning true. So, a loud round of applause for the wonderful contributors to Thailand's solar industry is a must. Come on, audience, clap for yourselves and your industry peers because you all truly deserve it. Well, we have this emojis, audience member. Please fill it up with wonderful, wonderful emojis out there and, pepper the mood of the award ceremony. I would like to say that. Okay, so we all know that today's event is all about recognizing the top players and contributors in the Thailand solar industry. But we will also like to share this opportunity with our dear audience member too. I am going to ask you a very simple question, and you will have to give me the wittiest answer. Now, simple question, but a wittiest answer, I must say. So, the smartest and the wittiest will be given an opportunity to come on the screen and have a chat with us. Well, you have an opportunity to share the screen space with me. Are you ready? Fine. So, the question is, according to you, what is the weirdest New Year resolution you have ever made? every year we come up. Perfect. So every year we come up with a lot of New Year resolutions. Well, some may think that resolutions are meant to be broken, and somebody are actually very serious about going through it throughout the year. Well, let us see what has been your weirdest New Year resolution. Kindly put your answers in the chat box, and we are going to announce the name of the winner at the end of the ceremony, and we will have the privilege of getting our winner on the screen and have a chat with them. So guys, give a thought to the brains. Come on, put in all your effort and think about the weirdest New Year resolution you have ever made. Start putting in your comment in the chat box. I'm giving you ample of time to think about it. Well, so without any more delay, let the countdown begin. Starting the ceremony with our first set of awards. And the category is Solar Company of the Year Developer. There's a legacy. So before I announce the winner, let me give you a few hints about the winning company so that you can guess it. All right, so our winning company has an operating portfolio of 20 megawatt in Thailand and 1 megawatt in Vietnam in corporate rooftop solar projects with commercial and industrial off-takers. Under construction, it has project with capacity of 20 megawatt and 75 megawatt in mid-development stage. The company started with a single rooftop and expanded to 8 factories, which demonstrates their ability to expand to multi-locations with one single off-taker. And it also demonstrates the trust that their clients put in them. Quite a trustworthy company, I must say. So let us see who the winner is. And the award goes to... And the award goes to Constant Energy. We have Mr. Frank Constant, the CEO of the company himself, sharing the screen space with us. Over to you, sir.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Thank you very much.
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
Thank you very much, first you, for this honor. We are very happy here in Bangkok to receive this. And the merit comes to our teams. They've done a great job in the last 2 or 3 years, getting us leaps and bounds from into Thailand, also into Vietnam and Malaysia. So we got about 100 megawatt now of project being either built on operation or under construction or having signed PPA with Fortune 1000 or large local clients. The team is growing. I think we'll have a lot of exciting news for 2022. And I wish everyone a great 2022. I'm glad that we are all alive, so we should look at 2022 with optimism. You know, forget a bit about Omicron and Delta and Lambda or Lambada, the virus. Let's we all made it into 20. We all make it up to now, and let's focus more on optimism. There's many things to be optimistic about for 2022.
Very, very well said. I really like that optimism, Mr. Constant. Very well said that we all should have a positive approach towards the coming year and, you know, welcome it with open arms. Heartiest congratulations to the entire team of Constant on winning this wonderful
Thank you.
winning in this wonderful award. So Mr. Frank, you know, looking at the present scenario and the past scenarios, so there was people were working from home, and now somewhere physically also they have started opening up to offices and coming to the work. So according to you, what is more productive or more feasible? Is it work from home or is it coming physically to the office?
Well, I think it depends on the job type that you're doing, but I would say on average, we think this spending a couple of days during the week at home is has increased productivity for a lot of our team members. make them relax a bit more, as long as they don't have children, less than 10 or 12 years old at home that don't go to school. I think the key is really, what is your situation at home? But if your home is quiet, then I think the productivity can be definitely increased by spending 1 or 2 more days. And this last year and a half has really helped our organization, at least, to move very quickly into more digital communication, and enhancing the experience of digital communication and being more coordinated when we are remote. So, but we are obviously even more happy to meet together in the office. It becomes a bit of a special event when the entire team is in the office.
Absolutely, very well said. And you caught that nerve out there that children below 10 years. I really get that thing. Very, very well said. One last question. Now the new year approaching, and as I said, new year resolution. So what is your new year resolution?
Oh, good question. Well, New Year resolutions for us, it's going to be a resolute year. We are raising some large amount of funds for next year. So that's going to be key for the growth of the company for year 2023 to 2025 and 6. So this is going to be a very exciting time for us, enlarging our pool of investors. So that's, basically set the scene for the company to be able to really grow 5 or 10x for the next 5-10 years next year.
Good one. And we wish you all the best. Now, that was for company, the New Year resolution for the company growth. What about your personal New Year resolution?
My personal New Year resolution, as I said, is I'm very much aligned with my company. So I'll make it my main resolution personally as well for next year.
Perfect.
My kids are at university, so I don't need to take care too much of them anymore.
Okay.
I just send them money every month. It's enough.
All right. So we wish that the New Year resolution goes through, and wish you all the very best for the coming year. Heartiest congratulations on the great win out there.
Thank you.
Truly deserved. Thank you so much. Okay, with this, we had Mr. Constant. Heartiest congratulations to the entire company there. Moving to our next category of awards, and the category is Solar Company of the Year Structure. Let me give you a few pointers about the winning company. The company's product mainly targets the removable ground mount system, waterproof membrane, rooftop systems in the region. Their all products are tested according to the highest industry standards, and the static design as well as the wind and the snow load calculation is carried out for each individual project in Aero Tool. Now, Aero Tool is the company's own online 3D engineering software. The company's in-house development team constantly improves the products and also puts a strong focus on the new developments and innovations. I am sure you all might have guessed by now that who the winner is. So time to know our winner. And the award goes to And the award goes to Aero Compact. May I request Mr. Mandar Mende, Managing Director of the company, to kindly accept the award.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Mr. Mandar. We are not able to see you. Could you please switch on the camera, please?
I have already switched on the camera. Maybe there is some... I don't know why is it not? Till now, it was actually working well.
Okay. No problem. We can wait. You can just try to resolve this.
I will just try one. I don't think it is working properly.
No problem. I think we can do with the video for now, and probably you can log in back, and once the video is on, we'll get you back on the screen.
Yeah. I can.
We can continue with the audio for now.
Yeah, sure. So, on behalf of AeroCompact family and stakeholders, I thank you for the recognition and award of the Best Solar Structure Company of the Year. AeroCompact is a pioneer supplier of mounting structure globally. Our aluminum products are engineered and developed with highest industry and global standards to ensure the safety and stability. It also comes with 25 years of warranty. We are manufacturing our products in India to supply to the Asian market in order to benefit the import duty agreements and to minimize the logistic hindrances. We are expanding ourselves in Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines as well, and looking for bright, energetic candidates to join our family. Thank you, First View Media, for organizing this event.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mandar. Heartiest congratulations to the entire team of AeroCompact. Now, Mr. Mandar, if I may ask you, what do you foresee as the future of solar industry in the next 5 years? Now, that I mean is like globally, just not restricted to a certain region, but as globally. So, what is that you're foreseeing in next 5 years?
So, if you look at the graph of the solar industry, it has been rising from last 10 years, and it's probably will be rising for another 5 to 7 years very easily. And there are still many large installations and good installations which needs to be done. There are many C&I industries. There are many other industries, small scale industries, wherein the yeah, now my video is on also. So I could see that there is no stoppage for another 5 to 7 years for the solar industry.
Okay.
And like Thailand, Vietnam, these markets have recently opened themselves for solar industry. So yeah, there is a huge potential for these markets, as well as India. It is booming like anything. We have our own targets to meet, and then definitely it will be booming for many more years.
Absolutely. That's a very, very positive way to put it, and very positive thinking for everyone who is working in the solar industry, working for the development of solar industry globally.
Yeah.
Mr. Mandar, I'm sure you know what next I'm going to ask you. So this is my favorite question. Can you guess?
No, you can tell.
Okay, so what is your New Year resolution?
So, of course, as a business perspective, definitely to grow multifold.
Okay.
In the coming years, for the next year. So this year we actually supplied more than 5 megawatts in Thailand and around 700 megawatts globally. So yeah, the next year's target is to make it double, because now there is a bit relaxation from COVID side and everything. So definitely will pitch in better way, and we look forward to a better growth. So
all the
yeah,
best for your New Year resolution.
Yeah.
But that was again professionally. What about personally?
You have to stay fit so that I can make this resolution happen. It is very important to stay fit.
So do we have one more gym, gym membership coming up?
No.
That's the first thing everybody does on 1st Jan.
Yeah, and then they leave it after another 5 days or 7 days.
Yeah, that's,
The
resolutions
whole
of,
thing,
they
the
say
balloon blows, and yeah, everyone gets back to their own
square one.
regular thing. Yeah.
Okay, so we really hope that it just gets through your personal professional resolution, and we really wish you all the very best. Heartiest congratulations to the entire team for a very, very great win out there.
Thank you, Geeta. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay, dear audience member, I do not see any great comments coming in our chat box regarding your New Year resolution. Come on, think about it. Still have time. So kindly start pouring in and let me know the weirdest New Year resolution you have ever made. Come on, you still have time. Go ahead and put it in the chat box. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now with this, we come to the last award of our evening. And the last award category is best solar. Okay, so it is best solar project of the year, Rooftop. As I always do, let me give you a hint about our winning company. So, the company has completed the construction of solar power rooftops for 24 facilities of Betagro across Thailand. The project is one of the largest corporate solar portfolios in Southeast Asia, offering clean energy to Betagro through 20-year corporate power purchase agreements. The 25 megawatt peak system will generate an estimated 38 gigawatt hour of renewable electricity per year, providing about 10% of the company's total power consumption. It will reduce CO2 emission by 26,000 tons per year. The solar PV system, which combines more than 62,000 solar panels, equivalent to covering 36 soccer fields. Wow, that gets me guessing. It was constructed within 6 months, despite having to operate during the COVID-19 restrictions. Wow. Now, that is truly, truly impressive the way the company has worked. So, much deserved win, I must say. Let us see who the winner is. And the award goes to. Well, the award goes to Total Energies Renewable Distributed Generation. I may request Mr. Thompson, Sales Director of the company, to kindly accept the award. Do we have Mr. Thompson?
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Thompson.
Hello, Kita. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Thompson, how do you feel about winning this award?
Yeah, it's nice, and okay, it's just not only us, right? Because of this award, will be the projects of the year. So, in my point of view, is that well, we need to thank also to our partner, Betagro, because of to executions of the project during the COVID-19 is not easy. And it's quite complicated regarding on how to manage, the installation work, and it is totally 24 sites around Thailand. So yeah, that is the big challenge. Okay, a lot of problem I can say, but okay, we finally successful COD the project. Yeah, that is very good. Yeah.
Absolutely, very well said, and very well deserved win. I was really, really impressed with the way the entire script was about the project, and it really sounded very challenging. So, just want to know that during the entire COVID phase, this is what I came to know, that you completed the project in 6 months. How did you get your entire team so motivated? Because it was really, really a very depressing time for everybody, but still going ahead and motivating them to complete the entire project was really, really commendable. How did you get to do that?
Well, first of all, we need to, because of this, after we sign the contracts, let's say finally there is the COVID coming, so we cannot stop for sure, because of we have like the subconnector, we have the heavily have the size container at the size, we have the construction site, so we just cannot stop it. So we need to manage everybody to understand that we need to find out the solutions how to continue to install. For example, on the installation site, well, if we stop, it means that they need to also get back to the office without execute anything. But if we encourage the people to understand that the projects need to be executed, And by the way, we need to consider on how we manage the team to understand well about the COVID-19 and work closely with the client, to have the practice to be able to install. And it's really good news to everybody that finally we success without any COVID case, I can say, on the construction side.
Well, that's very well, highly motivating, and how you really got through the entire situation and did the best part out there with the solar project and winning this great award. Now, again, I'm sure you know what I'm going to ask you next. So
Yeah.
before I ask the question, why don't I get an answer?
Yeah.
So, what is your New Year resolution?
Yeah, personally, let's say myself, I want to lose my weight just about 5 kilogram. Yeah, if possible.
Okay.
Yeah, to be the New Year gift for myself. Yeah.
So, how do you plan to do that?
Yeah, for sure. I need to do the exercise for sure.
Okay, so honestly, like even I'm on the same terms, and this New Year resolution I have made is I'm going off sugar. So I have a sweet tooth, and I'm absolutely going off sugar this time. So
Wow.
I hope I'm able to do that, and I really wish you're able to do that too. Your New Year resolution. So get through the entire year with that.
Thank you.
Wish you all the very best for the new year with
You
a
too.
lot of good luck, and heartiest congratulations to the entire team on this very, very great win. Thank you. It's a pleasure having you. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, after the wonderful comments from our award winners, it is time to know the star. Now, do we have any comments? Oh, come on. I couldn't find a single great comment out here. All right. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our award ceremony. On behalf of the entire team of First View Media and Solar Quarter, we would like to congratulate all our winners on the very, very, very well-deserved win. A big round of applause to the winners and also to our lovely audience who have made this evening even more memorable and exciting with their presence. Now that's a round of applause for everybody from my side. With this, we bid you goodbye with a promise that we'll meet you soon. Happy New Year to everybody. Merry Christmas. And happy holidays. Thank you so much for coming, everyone.